Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
We have a great show for you tonight. Standing by over the wings is Mr. John Cornett and Corey. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Marijuana's legal here in Oregon and across the river in Washington, so we're happy. We're still celebrating. Mr. Casper Leach will be here in a moment. He's en route to the studio. We have a great hemp news segment for you tonight, and we'll be back with that just after our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves.
I feel the force.
Okay, our first story tonight is from our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., flanked by lawmakers from Colorado, Oregon, and the District of Columbia, where voters have chosen to legalize marijuana. Dana Rohrabacher, a Republican from Orange County, California, yesterday made his most forceful case yet for Republicans to stand down on the issue of cannabis. In doing so, he laid out the contours of an argument about civil liberties, states' rights, and physical priorities that could prove key to whether the next Republican-controlled Congress moves to block Washington, D.C.'s Initiative 71. The voter-approved measure could lead to legal sales of marijuana in the nation's capital. Representative Earl Blumenauer from Oregon, Jared Polis from Colorado, and Eleanor Holmes from Washington, D.C. looked on as Representative Dana Rohrabacher spoke during a press conference on Capitol Hill on Thursday in Washington, D.C. Portland, Oregon's Representative Earl Blumenauer pointed out that no one has ever died from a marijuana overdose. Blumenauer emphasized the number 0. The Washington, D.C. initiative, backed by almost 7 in 10 D.C. voters, would legalize possession and home cultivation. District of Columbia Mayor-elect Muriel E. Bowser wants a companion measure sent to Congress allowing for the legal sale and taxation of the plant, akin to the regulation of alcohol. Anytime after that, conservative members could attach amendments to budget bills in the federal Congress to preclude the district from spending its own money to carry out legalization, thereby reverting the district to stricter federal laws. Rohrabacher co-sponsored a measure which passed the House in May earlier this year, 219 to 189, that would protect states' rights to administer medical marijuana programs. Thank you, representatives. Our next story is from here in Oregon. In the wake of the approval of the Marijuana Legalization Initiative Measure 91, the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office announced it will dismiss low-level marijuana cases. The office, in a prepared statement, announced, quote, "Because it's clear that a significant majority of voters in Multnomah County support the legalization of marijuana in certain amounts, this office will dismiss the pending charges related to conduct which will otherwise become legal soon," end quote. Measure 91 allows anyone 21 and older to possess up to an ounce of marijuana in a public place and up to 8 ounces at home. A total of 50 pending marijuana cases will be dismissed in Multnomah County, according to the District Attorney's Office. The District Attorney's written statement reads, "This office does not plan to prosecute future charges for conduct related to marijuana possession and delivery of marijuana, which will become lawful under Measure 91, absent exceptional circumstances," end quote. Prosecutors in other Oregon counties are considering taking similar action. We have a little video clip from a local news station that we're going to run. Is that video ready? Let's go ahead and run that. We'll be back in just a moment.
Less than 1 week after Oregon voters approved legalized marijuana, the Multnomah County DA's office announced It will drop low-level pot cases. They won't be prosecuted. KGW's Kylie Boshi is live in the newsroom. Kyle.
Tracy, the new law doesn't go into effect until July, but the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office is acting now, dropping all low-level marijuana cases. In a statement, the DA's office says, quote, because it is clear that a significant majority of voters in Multnomah County support the legalization of marijuana in certain amounts, this office will dismiss the pending charges related to conduct which will otherwise become legal July 1st, 2015. In all, prosecutors say 50 low-level marijuana cases will be dismissed in Multnomah County. This activity would be legal when the new law goes into effect next summer. Measure 91, approved by Oregon voters last week, allows anyone 21 and older to possess a certain amount of marijuana. According to the statement, the Multnomah County DA's office will not prosecute future charges related to marijuana possession or delivery, which will become legal under Measure 91, except in unusual circumstances. The question now is, what will other prosecutors in other counties do? Will they follow suit? We'll be watching and let you know. Back to you.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right. Down in Nevada, supporters of an initiative petition to legalize the recreational use of marijuana in Nevada said they have collected far more than the required number of signatures to qualify for the 2016 ballot. The Nevada Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol plans to turn in about 170,000 signatures to county clerks on Wednesday. To qualify for the ballot, 101,667 signatures from registered Nevada voters are required. They expect to have almost twice that number of signatures needed in each of Nevada's 4 congressional districts, which is a requirement for qualification in Nevada. If the signatures are there, the legalization proposal for those aged 21 and older will go to the 2015 Nevada legislature. If the Nevada legislature fails to approve the proposal within 60 days of the session, it goes to the Nevada general election ballot in November 2016. Support among Nevada voters was measured in 2013 as 54% for and 42% against when the petition was first filed last April. Out of Aurora, Colorado, suburb of Denver, cannabis holds promise as a comparatively safe and effective treatment for digestive disorders, according to a literature review published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology. Investigators at the University of Colorado, Aurora, and at the Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical University in New Hampshire reviewed data in regard to the use of cannabis or cannabinoids for nausea and vomiting, appetite stimulation, abdominal pain, inflammatory bowel disease. They reported, quote, it's increasingly clear that endocannabinoid system plays a role in diverse biological pathways that affect gastrointestinal and hepatic physiology and pathology. Although there are no studies proving the long-term safety of marijuana use, its safety profile compares favorably to other illicit substances and to legal intoxicants like alcohols, possibly to opiates and some existing therapies for digestive disorders. They conclude, quote, marijuana appears to hold promise as a modifier of gastrointestinal symptoms. This study, Medical Marijuana for Digestive Disorders, High Time to Prescribe, appears in the American Journal of Gastroenterology. The second richest person in America, Warren Buffett, owes part of his fortune to selling ice cream, soft drinks, and candy. Now a company in Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, Inc. is turning to marijuana, according to Bloomberg News. The subsidiary is Cubic Designs, a unit of Berkshire's MyTech business, which specializes in making platforms that maximize floor space in warehouses. Recent Cubic Designs sent flyers to marijuana dispensaries with offers to help them expand the number of plants they can cultivate. The flyers say that Cubic Designs can help double their growing space and improve their profits. Another company not associated with Berkshire Hathaway, Cannabis, says its handheld THC marijuana breathalyzer is being developed to give law enforcement and employers the ability to test for recent consumption of the THC component of marijuana. And interestingly, the company is featuring this product, presumably a tool in the war on cannabis, at a generally pro-cannabis trade show in Los Angeles this weekend. Prototypes renderings are being showcased at the National Marijuana Business Conference and Expo in Las Vegas. Cal Malhi, the president of Cannabis Technology, says, quote, with the legalization of marijuana in several U.S. states and zero tolerance for marijuana-impaired driving in 12 states, we see that the need for this product is significant. We're working to create a device that will be durable for everyday field use, a device that will be easy to administer and provide results quickly and reliably, according to Cannabis's president, Malhi. That is the end of our hemp news segment tonight. I'm going to jump over to John Cornett and Corey. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Oh, really good, Paul.
Doing just fine.
Good.
Yeah, we just kind of played around here with a little blues thing. We're going to lay it down right now for you.
All righty.
And Corey. I don't mind people grinning my face. I don't mind. I don't mind my face.
I see people grinning. They just look like a disgrace.
I really don't mind people grinning in my face. I don't mind people grinning in my face.
John Cornett and Corey.
Corey here.
Welcome. We'll have you guys back at the end of the show. Welcome here, Casper. How are you tonight?
Fine and happy Friday. Another great night of cannabis common sense.
Indeed, indeed. So, how's your week been going?
Pretty groovy. Every day above ground rocks.
That's
As my dad once said, it's best to outlive your enemies. Boy, is that true.
Okay. Well, it is the 14th of November, 2014, and if you're watching us tonight, you can call in with a question or comment about ending marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients. Call us at that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4442. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. We got a number of little hemp items here. I'm going to just start out with the show and tell. We have a big bundle of hemp fiber, and this is from the THCF Medicinal Garden. We were able to grind up all of our stems, and we're going to try to make some paper and building materials out of those just to entertain ourselves. This little example of that. And then here is hemp seed oil. Call this our hemp flame of freedom. This is the whole reason marijuana was made illegal, because you can burn its oil in any diesel engine with no conversion to the diesel engine, and it will replace a large amount of the petroleum that we are using today. And then right next door is some hemp twine, and this little piece of hemp twine will be the wick the next time we have a show here.
So did you get on the phone and call Warren?
No.
He'll help expand your operations, and we'll get flooring made, and that's pretty groovy.
Yeah. That we'll see what happens with Warren and his little company. I mean, he generally is known for making some shrewd investments. He seems real approachable. I mean, Paul McCartney bumped into him at a park once. And yeah, well, they went to a park to eat their ice cream cone.
But he just seems like everybody's grandpa, don't he? So I figured if anybody could ring him up, he'd just be on the phone.
Well, you should be doing that.
Oh, no, you're the smart one.
I don't know about that. We have this nifty hemp case here. This is made of hemp fiber.
Wait a minute, is that stuff this stuff?
Yeah, this stuff is that stuff.
No.
And that stuff is this stuff.
That's me imitating me.
I guess so.
No.
Yep. So that's one of the things you can make out of this stuff. But we haven't been making that. So the developments in the field of legalization keep coming fast and furious. We had a big news conference yesterday with 4 Congress people talking about how they have to the federal Congress shouldn't interfere in the Washington, D.C. implementation of legal marijuana. Of course, we believe in that, as does the representatives who were there, Dana Rohrabacher and Earl Blumenauer from here in Portland, Jared Paulus from Boulder, Colorado, and the representative, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, from Washington, D.C. Well, it's exciting to see those kind of developments. Hopefully the federal Congress will take a hands-off position. One thing we can see from the last election is that marijuana outpolled almost everything else. The one clear message from the election, we might be split over the Democrats and the Republicans, but marijuana won everywhere. Even in Florida, where it didn't quite win, it got over 58% of the vote. It needed 60%. So they're going to be back in Florida with another vote for medical marijuana in 2016. And now it looks like Nevada is definitely qualified for a vote in 2016. And I know the stars are aligning, and the major groups, the Drug Policy Alliance and the Marijuana Policy Project, are competing to see who will be the ones to carry the big state of California over in 2016 as well. There really is kind of a competition between those two groups. DPA funded Washington, and the Marijuana Policy Project funded Colorado in 2012. Of course, we didn't get any funding in Oregon then. But this year, DPA funded Oregon, and MPP funded Alaska. And so it's interesting to note that when DPA talks about how they won in Washington, D.C. and Colorado, they don't say anything about Alaska. So there's kind of competition there, and not so friendly competition at that.
And you're right, politicians are paying close attention when this one subject gets more attention and more political support than any human running for office. I think they're all now trying to figure out how they can ride that coattail into their own districts into office. Though I can't figure out who is amping up the yellow journalism. Every now and then I keep seeing how Oregon's going to be so high that it'll float out of America, and that we're just going to be having all kinds of
children are going to go to hell in a handbasket.
No
that's
kidding.
what the
And then Washington's going to state, and California, where that's why hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes are hitting us, because it's God's way of saying, oh, you've legalized marijuana.
An opponent to Measure 91 from Klamath County, Oregon, which voted against Measure 91, is now in charge of implementing Measure 91. So
how'd that happen?
I can't say. It's I know that our governor was against Measure 91 as well. So my feeling is probably he had something to do with that. I hope he doesn't attack me
Do
again
you
for
think
doing
the
that
reason
today.
why the governor was against it was because his girlfriend had a garden and it would take away the profits of selling it underground?
No, that I don't think
Oh,
that had
okay.
anything to
Just
do with it.
curious. I mean, I hate to make any kind of political commentary about what a hypocrite he might be.
Well, you know, speaking of hypocrites, we had a denial letter from the city of Portland for our Hipstock Festival in 2015. And so we have filed an appeal to that with the city council. And today our attorney, Ann Whitty, filed a lawsuit and a motion for review in the circuit court of the state of Oregon, saying for the city to halt the city council process, for the court to halt the city council process and allow us to do it. Now, the head of the parks department there said that he found marijuana smoking so intense outside of the gates at our Hempstock Festival that he almost got high.
Huh.
He was very afraid of that, apparently. You know. And so
Oh, wait a minute. Well, there was like 3 entrances to the event. Each entrance had at least 8 police officers in uniform,
right,
standing
well,
at the entrance.
The other thing is they said that
who would do that?
That we had cooperated with someone in one of the booths who was accused of selling marijuana. When the police came to us and said this person was selling marijuana, we immediately threw that booth out. We had done that in the past at other Hempstock festivals when it came to our attention that certain people were marketing or selling marijuana from their booths. You know, every vendor at the Hempstock Festival has to sign an agreement that they will not sell marijuana or edibles at our event, and we take that very seriously, and we eject vendors who are caught doing that. So the police came to us at about 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon and said that this one vendor had been selling marijuana from the booth. So I immediately told them, not the police, but our security people, to discharge that vendor and get him out of there. Now, the police, in their letter to us, say they told us that on Saturday, and we didn't act on it till Sunday. But in fact, that's not true. Within 10 seconds of being informed of that, I gave the instructions to have that vendor
You jumped through every hoop they threw up there to
but
make
they're
sure
lying.
this was smooth.
The city of Portland is lying to try to stop us from having our event. They're trying to create this misinformation campaign.
So
basically.
they are
now,
the true
anyone who
definition.
was at our Hempstock Festival knows there wasn't any smoking going on at the event. And we did everything we could possibly do to make certain that we complied with the rules that they imposed on us.
So they are actually walking examples of the term lying pigs.
Well, hypocrites. That was
I'm thinking lying pigs is more.
We are taking phone calls tonight. If you have a question or comment for us tonight, you can call us at that number there on your screen. And I think we have our first caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello, is that me?
That's you.
That's you. Is that you? Is this me?
Hello?
Hello, hello?
There is a sound delay, so if you're waiting to hear us on television,
Hello?
it won't do you any good.
Hello?
Can you hear us? This is
Hello?
kind of probably a
Hello?
soundboard issue.
Wow. Is my
Okay.
mic on? Are you there?
Okay.
Oh, let's try this.
Well, Karnak, the Magnificent. Okay, well, if you have a question or comment for us tonight,
Nothing
call
at
us
all.
at 503-288-4442. That's
Hello?
503. Hello? Okay, we're still listening.
Hello?
If you give us your address, we'll have an intervention.
Okay.
Put the pipe
Actually,
down,
cut
pick
that-
up the
cut
phone.
that one and
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
We've been able to hear you all along, sir.
Oh,
You keep saying hello, hello.
there's some problems with the phone on your end, I think.
Go ahead and say what your question
Okay.
is.
So on December 5th, is that section going to be going into effect as far as people freely growing their own and possessing and?
Well, yeah. In fact, the Multnomah County District Attorney, I understand the Clackamas County District Attorney has also said that they're It goes into effect right away, but technically the law is supposed to go into effect on December 5th. It's kind of confusing. Having read the end section, I think it's 84 or 82 of the law, it actually says two different things. It must have been a drafting error because at one point it says it goes into effect on December 5th, and another part it says it goes into effect in next July. So it says both in the actual law. I am tending to think that the sooner date would be applicable. But it also sets a date of January 4th, 2016 before the state has to start issuing licenses to commercial businesses to be able to sell marijuana to adults.
Okay. What about, like, they're probably going to have to rectify the 4-plant limit thing in terms of it needs to be, specified as far like it should be 4 adult female plants instead of just 4 plants, of any size or type.
Yeah, I agree. The law says it's 4 plants per household. I think that's very low. I think that, of course, if you harvest a big outdoor plant, then you have 8 ounces as the limit you can have in your home. This is the one way that the law here in Oregon is not as good as the one in Colorado. In every other way, the law in Oregon's better than Colorado. But Colorado says you can have 6 plants and keep the produce of those 6 plants with no limit on how much those 6 plants can produce. So, but in Oregon, we're limited to 8 ounces at home and 4 plants per household under the newly approved Measure 91, which goes into effect soon.
Also, what about, like, transporting? Like, let's say you have
you can carry up to 1 ounce away from your home.
But,
you wouldn't want to go onto federal property with that.
Right.
It's federal law, and you can't cross state lines with that.
What if you have like a pipe on the seat, next to you in the car if you get stopped? Can they say, "Oh, you've been smoking while you're driving," or?
They could say that. I would say it would not be wise. It could be kind of like having an open container in your vehicle.
Yeah, that was actually what my question was more to the point of.
Yeah.
Like, they have, I just think to be under those, kinds of restrictions as well,
Right. I think there will be those sorts of restrictions imposed if they aren't there already.
Yeah, so it needs to be, like, kept away, like, sealed up, like...
In the trunk of the vehicle, or definitely away from the driver.
Yeah. And then...
All right.
And people can freely share amongst, like, other people, like...
Yes. You can give away, if say you grow a plant or 4 plants and you have more than 8 ounces, you can legally give an ounce to another person under this law.
And it doesn't matter who it is. It's not like
as long as they're over 21.
Yeah. Exactly.
Give it to the governor. His wife stopped growing. He probably needs it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Good point.
Okay. Well, thanks for your efforts, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your call. Glad we finally got that sound worked out. We have a couple more phone calls. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yes, hello. Is this me?
It's you.
Oh, well, you are so cool. Now, my
trying.
name is Ron, and I had the occasion to call you September, probably a year ago.
Okay.
And I am a Oregon medicinal medical client, and I suffered a major bust in Gold Hill is where my grower was, and we had no idea, and I had talked to you about this then. I had talked to you in January, I think. But now my curiosity extends me to ask you, what, with a medicinal medical marijuana client, what is the new law going to do for us?
Well, you would be able to grow 4 plants in addition to your 6 plants with your medical marijuana permit.
You're kidding.
A household would be able to grow 4 plants legally, and then as a medical marijuana patient, you can grow 6 large plants as well. So you'd be able to grow 10 plants instead of just 4. And if you have, where there's a limit on the amount per household under the new adult use marijuana law that's passed, there is no limit of the number of patients that can grow at a single location with medical marijuana. So if you had a collective garden with, say, 10 patients there in one location, you could grow 60 large plants and 180 little plants in addition to your 4 legal cannabis plants. So that's how that law would affect. But the Measure 91 explicitly made no change to Oregon's medical marijuana law. So the medical marijuana law remains exactly as it has been. The dispensaries are there, they're up and running. A lot of patients are able to go to those and obtain medicine that aren't able to grow it themselves or find someone who can grow it for them.
And may I ask, though, if I already have an assigned grower and I've already paid the fee, which thank goodness they reduced the fee as of October 1st, but if I already have the fee and I've renewed my license, that means that I can still gain from my medical marijuana grower and still attempt to do this, because I'm a brown thumb.
Yeah. Yeah, you could grow 4 plants at your home and still have your licensed Oregon medical marijuana program grower produce marijuana for you too.
That's too fantastic.
Then you can have 8 ounces at your home under the adult use law, Measure 91 that just passed, and the 24 ounces per patient at that location as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too. Well, the calls are coming in here. We got a couple more. Welcome to the show, caller. Not you. How about you? Welcome to the show.
Sure, that's me, Paul.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Casper, how are you? This is Kim.
Hey, Kip.
How you doing?
Thank you for that nice.
Listen, Paul,
big
what I called
container you gave
about
me.
was, are there any provisions, growing provisions, in the new 91? Can I get purchase a grower's card?
Every household can grow 4 plants.
No more
so you
than
don't need a card. You don't need a card. But as soon as they start issuing licenses, and they have to start issuing those no later than January 4th of 2016, and something tells me that's when they'll start. Although technically they could start earlier. Then you can get a license for $1,250 and grow as many plants as you want to and sell those to the recreational stores. Or there will be 4 types of licenses that you can obtain under Measure 91. One is a grower, one is a processor, one is a retailer, and each of those is $1,250.
So if you have 4 patients now, you might as well just get a grower's card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that per year or just for a lifetime?
I'm not sure. I'll have to do more study.
That's an interesting question. I'd like to know that one if you find out the answer.
That's a chunk of change for an annual fee.
Well, you know, I have a number of patients, a lot more than that. That is basically $1,250 is just a little bit, about 6 patients worth with one grower's card thrown in there.
Right.
So
That's how it is here.
yeah, and
Like
so
it'd be nice if it was longer than a year.
Yeah. I have over 100 card holders who place their gardens at our facilities, and so that would be a lot cheaper than their permits.
Right. Well, if you find out that information, let us all know.
I will.
And again,
I'm not
thanks a
sure
lot
whether
for all
it's
your
an
efforts in
annual
this
fee
campaign.
or it's a one-time fee. My guess is it's probably annual. In addition to the tax of $35 an ounce when you're selling the flowers and $10 an ounce when you sell the shake or the bud trim.
You mean there's money in marijuana?
Well, right now that tax seems low, especially in comparison to the taxes imposed in Washington State and Colorado. $35 an ounce is very inexpensive, but compared to those two. But as the price of cannabis drops, I think that $35 an ounce will be more than the production costs on the price of cannabis. So
well,
it could be that the tax takes up a larger and larger percentage.
I remember
the
President
cost comes down.
Obama was at a press conference, and they took these questions online, and he laughed at the question that was presented: would marijuana be a boost to the nation's economy? And he laughed and said, "I don't think so." So is
well,
he
there's
wrong?
a huge business conference taking place down in Las Vegas, Nevada right now, and there are a series of these things happening all over the country and all over the world, in fact. But we have some more callers. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Howdy.
You know, I don't wonder so much about what how much we can grow or how much we can have on hand or anything like that. I worry about the mindset of the people that voted against it, and whether or not we're going to end up with a battle such as we did with the cigarettes in bars and restaurants.
Well, I think, you know, we'll have to defend this law and defend cannabis users' rights in the state legislature. We all have to be vigilant and participate in the process and let our elected officials know and encourage, if we can't actively participate in the legislative process in Salem that unfolds beginning in January through June or July, then support someone who is going to be out there working on it in the legislature.
I understand that.
Yeah, we do have to protect it, though. You're absolutely right. It is something to worry about.
People of Oregon have voted. They have passed this, and I don't see. I see trouble in the future with people that are going to fight against it.
I think you're right. I think there will be those problems. As I mentioned just a moment ago, the fellow who's been put in charge of the program by the Oregon Liquor Control Commission was a spokesperson against the implementation and encouraged people to vote yes. So we've got a fellow who's in charge of it who doesn't like the program to start with. And then we'll have, you know, we have some advocates in the state legislature. State Senator Floyd Przansky of Lane County comes to mind, and he's in charge of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and Representative Peter Buckley, who's in charge of the Oregon Ways and Means Budget Committee. So both of those people are strong advocates for Measure 91 and cannabis users' rights. But a lot of legislators aren't. A lot of legislators have fought against medical marijuana and imposed these incredibly high fees at times, which fortunately were lowered slightly in October 1st. But it's something that we will continue to have to see. But you know, with tobacco, we know about the dangers of tobacco and that over 400,000 Americans die each year from tobacco smoking related diseases. And we know with alcohol that over 100,000 Americans die each year from traffic accidents alone, and probably half the people in our prisons are there for things they did when they were drunk and blacked out and don't even remember doing. With marijuana, we won't see that. We won't see, in fact, marijuana has health benefits. So hopefully as the truth comes out and people see that marijuana is really been lied about, we'll be looking back on marijuana prohibition for what it is, an economic crime against the world to give us petrochemical replacements to hemp fuel.
Yeah.
That's why I think every member of Congress should get a packet that discusses how other countries are making a great profit from the number of products that are being made from hemp, and then maybe in that packet a hemp shirt or a hemp twine.
Well, now you can even give each member of Congress some marijuana legally, because
Exactly.
marijuana is legal in Washington, D.C.
And don't forget their
I
hemp.
think I want to go do that.
And don't forget their hemp suppository, so they know that all kinds
I'll let
of
you deal
products,
with that, Casper.
all right,
That's
can be
more-
made and please use properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you're correct that we are going to have to defend this law in the state capitol, in the legislature.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your phone call.
Who would oppose such a wonderful law? You wouldn't think like maybe the police unions or the prison unions or people like that who are trying to profit off the backs of crime, would you?
Yep.
No.
Yep, I think those are the ones. We have another caller on the phone and someone in the studio. Go right ahead. If you want to ask a question, we have a studio audience caller. Go right ahead. Our speaker.
Hey guys, thanks as always. Great to see you.
See you,
in the news segment, you touched on a bill nationally that is to to guarantee the rights of the states to administer their medical marijuana programs. I'm exceedingly interested in that because that seems to me something maybe more low-key and not all that sexy and exciting that people might think about. But in terms of keeping the power with the people, it seems to me that that would be an exceptionally good bill to get in place.
Yeah, and in fact, it did pass the legislature. As I remember, it was a vote of 219 to 198, something like that. And so it's something that passed in May in the United States Federal Congress, that the DEA cannot use federal funds to enforce marijuana prohibition against people who have medical marijuana licenses in the states where that is legal. And so that basically enacted through Congress the Justice Department's posture since probably about 2010, when Eric Holder, U.S. Attorney General, implemented that program. Oh, speaking of Eric Holder.
Oh, yeah, we had a great time over vacation together.
Yeah.
That's us heading
They
out
always
for a
pop
boat.
up with those pictures. But okay, we have a couple more phone calls. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Oh, is that me? Hi,
That's you.
Paul, it's Doreen. How are you guys doing?
Very well. How are you?
Hi. I just had a comment. I was looking at this. I have a magazine from the summer where they were talking about Project Green, where people were asked to donate their excess stuff, and they were going to share it and all that kind of thing. And I've donated quite a bit to them, and I've noticed every time I go into the dispensaries, the price is going up, and they're not sharing, and it's just getting harder and harder to get, good edibles, and I'm kind of too sick to try to smoke and hold it in and such. And I'm really disappointed. It was almost easier to get it when it was illegal, And it's kind of sad, I think. People ought to learn how to share again and be nice to other people and care and have some compassion. And I'm just highly disappointed in all of that.
Yeah, the costs in these places are very, very expensive.
Exactly.
And starting a new business is always difficult.
I know.
And then there's so many of them. There's like here in Portland, there's about 75 of them, I think, and over 200 statewide.
Another one.
Say that again?
I said I see it on every corner. You go up some, Division or some of these other streets, and there's all kinds of new ones. But you go in there, and it's just, I walk out of there, I lose $80, and I come home with an E-pen that doesn't work and stuff. It's really
Well, you just have to learn how to make some of this stuff yourself, and that's.
I'm kind of a lot sicker than you guys realize. I'm down to about 90 pounds again, and it's kind of difficult. I don't have the patience to.
I understand.
Trying to cook it
Well,
and burn
hopefully
it.
the cost will be coming down. It starts out high, but it's like with technology. You see the price of technology when it first comes out is very high, and it gets lower and lower over a period of time, and more features. And I think we'll see that with cannabis. The production costs at first are very high. There's a lot of competition. A lot of those businesses will consolidate and hopefully lower their costs, and the prices will come down. But they're going to be high at first. There's no doubt about that.
You're definitely right, and blessings to all of you guys. Have a great weekend, and
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate all the help you've given me. So carry on.
All right, thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks for calling, Doreen.
Well, while you were talking, it sounds like my days.
Mm-hmm.
They all start out really, really high, and then by the end of the day, they're low.
Okay. We have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Is it me this time?
It's you this time.
Oh, okay, great. So I just have a question. I grow outside, and I was wondering if we have a bunch of industrial hemp growing around the state, is that going to pollinate my female plants?
You know, I worked in Switzerland where marijuana was legal from 1997 till 2002. Marijuana became legal based on an initiative petition, and they had a vote. In 1997 it became legal, then they had a vote in 2002, and it lost with 48% of the vote, so it became illegal. I saw big hemp fields a mile away from bud fields, and there were a few seeds, but they weren't heavily seeded. I think the danger is overblown in that, and so I think that you won't have to worry about the hemp pollinating your seeds much, unless your neighbor has some big male plants that are blowing their pollen in your direction.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. But I've got one other question for you.
Okay.
I had what it grew this year. I took over to a lab and had it analyzed, and it came out at like 21.63% THC.
That's good.
I think that's pretty high.
Yeah, that is. Good work.
Well, cool. Oh, thanks.
Congratulations.
It said a moisture adjusted was 23.33%.
All right.
So,
that's pretty
all right,
good.
Thanks.
Well, you got some good stuff there. Good work.
He
You're
didn't give
welcome.
us his address. Why do you hang up?
Well, come on. You know, we have a studio audience here. If you want to come down and join us in the studio audience, you're welcome to. We're at 2766 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We tape this show most Friday nights. We won't be here next Friday night. I am going to be speaking next weekend at the Expo Weed. You can look it up as expoweed.cl in Santiago, Chile. And I've never been farther south than the Mexican border myself, but I've been invited to go speak in Chile on November 22nd, next weekend, and in Montevideo, Uruguay, a month later on December 14th. So I'll be coming back and then going back, 2 trips in a month to South America. I'm excited about that. I get to speak at the Expo Cannabis in Uruguay, and you can look up that at expocannabis.ui. And in fact, tomorrow I'll be going to open a new recreational marijuana shop up in Longview in Kelso, Washington. So I'll be up there and tell you a little bit more about that in a second. But we have another phone caller. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Good. I just want to thank you guys for doing what you do. Appreciate it. And I just had a quick question concerning businesses and how this affects them as far as drug testing goes.
You know, it does not affect them. The businesses can either decide not to implement drug testing or not. The law specifically did not address workplace safety rules or workplace testing. So it's up to the individual businesses to decide whether they want to continue that or not. I think eventually it'll be dropped because most of the studies that I've looked at show that marijuana users are safer workers and harder. They do a better job. They have less absenteeism. And so I think pretty soon employers will start to realize that. And we won't be discriminated against based on those. But for now, the law does not force them to change their drug testing policies, but hopefully they will.
Plus, I know that the constant cost of having to take a prospective candidate for employment and process them through the urinalysis testing screening, and then to have it come back positive for you to say, no, we're not going to hire you. I mean, how many people do you go through and pay for that before you get one that says, oh, this one's clean, we can hire him? So I think on the future, too, it's going to be so expensive to weed through those of us who don't smoke it that it'll be, if they do urinalysis testing, it'll be only for cocaine, heroin.
Great. Well, I appreciate your answer, guys, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we had a visitor from South America. I'll be hooking up with him again next week. Mike Bifari, and we have a little video We're going to run right now, and we'll be back in just a moment. So those callers standing by, just hold on. We'll be back.
We had about 200,000 people in the march asking for marijuana liberation, and people completely lost their fear for law enforcement. They're kind of in a complete civil disobedience concerning planting the seeds. So things are also happening there in Argentina. The government has also announced that they are looking to Uruguay as an example. So they are very respectful about the Uruguayan government, what they did this year, that was legalizing cannabis for recreational purposes and sales over the counter and distribution and production. So this is happening in this small, tiny country called Uruguay, which is surrounded by two big monsters, which is Brazil and Argentina. And we hope that the impact that Colorado and Washington brought to South America, also Uruguay will impact their next door neighbors. And this green tsunami will not stop, because this is a green tsunami that already started here in the United States. So I want to thank you all for all this big effort that all these years you guys have done as an example for the rest of the world, this culture. And this is what we need. We need some of your culture over there to teach these people all the benefits of this plant, not only for using for recreational purposes from a harm reduction perspective, but also what it means for industrial purposes, all the jobs it can create, and how ecological it is, because cannabis is basically ecological. It doesn't need no chemicals to grow. It's better than all the pharmaceuticals and all the petrochemicals. You all know that. Okay, so I want to encourage you guys to go and vote in November for Prop 91, because as we are now, after Colorado and Washington, South America is also going forward for legalization. I think this is a worldwide process, and you guys can make a difference. It will be a huge impact if you pass this law. So I want to encourage all of you to take your friends and go and vote. To vote is very important. In some of our countries, like Argentina and Chile, we had this mean militaries who kidnapped a whole generation of us, and now we're able to vote again. Sometimes democracy is a lie, but it's a right. And if we can use it in the correct form, it will be a benefit for all of us.
Right. So that was Mike Bifari at our Portland Hemp Stock Festival talking about the developments in South America. We've got a phone caller. Go right ahead. No phone calls. Okay.
We've got a shameless plug for timeforhemp.com.
Go right ahead.
I'll tell you, it is the best place to get your information about marijuana and hemp prohibition. We got all kinds of hardworking activists dedicated to raising the voice on a global basis. You find us in iHeartRadio, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course at timeforhemp.com. Lots of great music, lots of great commentary, lots of good times. Fire up and share us with your friends. Thank you.
You're welcome. We stream this live online on ustream.tv, and we have a question from the chat room there. It says, can farmers in Oregon grow industrial hemp in Oregon after the passage of Measure 91? In fact, there is a process that allows farmers to grow low THC hemp. You have to go through the Department of Agriculture to get those licenses. If you get the grower's license, that's $1,250 though, then you can grow THC, you can grow hemp without regard to its THC content. So if you're producing fiber, you're producing seed, you won't have to pay the tax on the fiber and the seed oil and seed protein you produce. You just have to pay that $1,250 a year. And it says, what areas of the state will grow best? I would think down in southern Oregon and over in the eastern part of the state would be the best place, where you have low humidity. With the high rain content and everything, it makes it more difficult here in the Willamette Valley. And we will be submitting a tape show next week, because I'll be speaking at the Expo Weed in Santiago, Chile. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to expoweed.cl. Also, our clinics are continuing. If you or a loved one need help finding a doctor who can help you get a medical marijuana permit, we have doctors from the East Coast out into Hawaii, and we'll be happy to help you get that medical marijuana permit. Just call us at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you're here in the Portland area, you can call us locally at 503-281-5100. That's 503-281-5100. We will be happy to refer you to a doctor who can help you get that medical marijuana permit. Mr. John Cornett is standing by with Corey, so they're going to be going on another great show. Thanks for coming on, Casper. Again, we'll have a tape show. We won't be live next week, but we'll be back here the day after Thanksgiving. I think that's the 27th of November, and I look forward to seeing you then. So tune in next time and help us restore hemp.